kindly introduced me. I am one of the directors of the European Energy Sector. Today I'm going to talk about a few different topics as agreed. I also would like to extend my good afternoon, but also good morning and good evening to all the listeners, obviously depending on where they are in the world. Okay, so European Energy Centre, we've been promoting best practice in renewable energy since 1975. Content of the presentations is going to, first I'm going to take you through what challenges educational institutions like ourselves face in predicting obviously which skills are required within the sector. The next point will be on our experience, personal experience, on how we've been addressing the skill gaps through education and training, as well as taking you through the Galileo Master Certificate. And the last point will be on how renewable energy education can also be made accessible to the international community, the international audience. Okay, in predicting the challenges in predicting the needs of the sector that we face, well, we can think about different ways of approaching this topic. I mean, for example, we can be proactive or reactive. For example, by being proactive, obviously we would research the topics which may be more interesting by talking to potential candidates, by understanding what the industry needs, and then pushing those training courses, degrees on those topics. So proactively researching what the market requirements are. The opposite approach obviously is to be reactive. By being reactive, obviously, it's a question of waiting for to understand the demands from the students, from the audience, from the people that want to be trained, and then obviously creating training courses and degrees based on the demands that there is in the market. I mean, both methods are obviously are good. Both have pros and cons. However, I think we believe that depending on the situation, for some topics it might be better to analyze in advance and to push the topics to the market. In other situations, it might be better to understand. So a mixture of both is probably the best. Which factors influence the decision on which topics to present to potential trainees? For example, there are legislative factors. If there are, for instance, new policies, new legislations, indeed, as the word says, to do with it can be anything related to any renewable energy technology or even energy efficiency, anything that helps meet European targets, global targets, national targets. So legislative factors are certainly a very key, certainly, for deciding which topics to train students and professionals on. Market-led factors, again, it's to do with, for example, if there is a new wind farm or a new solar farm installed, or if there are the requirements for specific technologies, or new technologies also, then these would be very important factors that have to be taken into consideration. A new wind farm will require personnel, obviously, for the maintenance, for the designing even of the actual technology. So this is also a very important factor. So there needs to be training courses and training for those individuals. Innovation-led factors, obviously those are more to do with the latest technology. If there is a new technology that we believe, for example, people should be aware of, then we would be launching training courses specifically on these on those new technologies. And this is to help professionals get access to the latest innovations, to the latest technology, which can then help design innovative products, more systems with better efficiency, for example, etc. There are, of course, a lot of other factors that influence the prediction of educational courses, but those is just, I would say, the main ones that I've got on this slide. The next point is really how us, ourselves, as European Energy Sector, are addressing the skill gaps that we face through education and training. Certainly, a major tool that we use is conferences, but this is not just for us, but it's for any organization that wishes to help our missions in sharing knowledge in renewable energy and energy efficiency. Networking is certainly also a very important aspect that is achieved through conferences. And also this webinar, I'm very grateful also to IRELP for organizing this webinar, which I can already see a lot of the people that are listening to it, and I think it's very positive, and I think it's really of great help for the market and for the audience. Another tool that we use is certainly educational courses and training, both of the classroom-based, but also in order to allow developing countries, not just people within Europe, but worldwide and globally, in order to access courses. It's important that there is a broad range of distance learning courses available, and this can be accessible as well. And publications are also very important for raising awareness, especially online, obviously, as again, that these have to be accessible by the global audience, not just within Europe, but also in other countries, in all continents, really, if we want to really achieve not just European targets, national targets, but global targets. Just to give you an example, what you can see now on the screen is a photo taken from the biennial European Conference on the latest technology, and this was the 14th European Conference that we organized with the United Nations Environment Programme for the purpose of sharing information on, as I said, on the latest technology with key experts in the field. So this is just to give you an example. But also renewable energy training, as I said, is key. We have up to 5,000 participants attending every year. Since 1975, we've been promoting best practice in renewable energy and energy efficiency, thanks to a network of 22 universities. So the training courses can vary from energy efficiency to renewable energy management and finance, solar photovoltaic, etc., etc. Also, even marketing renewable energy. Promoting renewable energy, as I'm sure you're getting from this presentation, is really key for really the if we want to really promote and getting more professionals learn about the sector. This slide I'm showing now is really another. Again, with that in mind, it shows the importance of creating new experts in the sector through pathway courses. So we believe that by taking people through a series of training courses aimed at specific expertise, then participants can become, in a way, experts. Obviously, this expertise has to be also matched with practical on-the-job experience, as has been said also by Axel a few minutes ago. We believe that his key internships also are extremely important. Yes, I think this is expert certificates, which is what people achieve at the end of these pathways, are a way to award and really get the award personnel that decides to become more knowledgeable about renewable energy and energy efficiency. The Galileo Master Certificate is internationally recognized, has been awarded for several decades, and that is really just an example, really, of a certificate that people can achieve, and something that kind of shows that the individual has learned about the topic, and can obviously then matched with the relevant experience and then utilized in a work-based scenario. I mean, this Galileo Master Certificate comes from a European project that we've also been part of, called MTEU, which is Energy Management Technician in Europe. I can also give you more information about that separately as well. Just give you some photographs of the learning and networking that we've been able to provide to participants. I mentioned earlier about journals. The journal, for example, we publish with the United Nations Environment Programme, is the one you can see now on the screen. This is also available online now. As I said, it's published in partnership with the United Nations Environment Programme and the intergovernmental parties, and such as IIR, ITF, and also Centro Studi Galileo. So the focus is on renewable energy, but also heat pumps. I mean, heat pumps is recognized as a renewable energy as well, as most of you probably know, assuming it achieves certain COPs as well. The next slide just shows the presentation of this publication at United Nations MOC 22 in Bangkok. That was when it was launched in 2010. And if we just go to the next slide, now I'm going to take you through how we can make renewable energy education accessible to the international community. I mean, I can give you some examples of how it can be done. I think it's a very important topic, this one, because renewable energy education can certainly be accessible by people in some countries which are more focused on promoting renewable energy, on educating renewable energy, who have targets to meet, but not all governments, not all countries have strict targets or have a strong commitment towards it. Towards meeting those targets or towards education. So I think all individuals can certainly make a change really by learning, and by learning from anywhere they are, as long as they have connection, obviously interconnections, which nowadays I'm going to say that it reaches certainly many professionals, so just to give some examples, how can individuals and communities, people do really worldwide, what can they do? For example, they can take, as I said, online courses, they can also achieve accreditations and awards in recognition of what they've done, of the studies they've done, the work they have achieved. So they can also become experts, recognized experts. They can network online through social media. I mean, these are all really basic things, but it's good to, for somebody who wants to start into the sector or to progress within the renewable energy sector. I think these are certainly ideas that I would advise to follow, really. But also keeping up to date with the latest research by accessing online publications. Just going back to our specific scenario, what can people do, professionals and also students, what can they do? I mean, as I said, distance learning, for example, there is this website academy-eec.co.uk that provides a lot of training courses for people to learn how to work in renewable energy, but also the individual technologies, how to manage renewable energy projects, how to finance these projects, calculations, etc. And also the technology, how the technology works, because it's important, obviously, there are different aspects, the technical aspects and also the managerial aspects, obviously, of education in the renewable energy sector. And obviously they complement each other, and people from different sectors can upskill, can start a career in renewable energy by learning those topics. As I said about recognition within the sector, there are professional membership programs such as energycpd.co.uk, and this can be viewed on Energy CPD website. And also, the last point, and then I'm finished, obviously accessing social media, for example, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find on the screen actually some examples of groups you can access. But I'm sure IRENA will also make this presentation available for you. And you can also, the last point is keeping up to date with research by accessing online journals, such as the energy-learning.com journal. And this really concludes my presentation. I'd like to thank you, IRENA, IRELP, especially Hugo and Stephanie as well, obviously, for making this happen. It's been certainly been very well attended so far, I can see. So thank you very much. Back to you, Hugo.
Thank you very much, Paolo, for this very interesting presentation. We are receiving many questions now. I think I will address it by the order they have appeared in the screen for us. So the first question that we have received is about employment figures in Africa, and maybe I can take it. As Axel mentioned, employment is one of the main research areas within the policy unit here in IRENA. We have released in January 2012 a comprehensive report on employment for biofuels and grid connected. This can be found in IRENA webpage, and then there is the figures by regions and by technology. So basically, I would advise Mr. Daniel Kofi Essient to visit the webpage, the area of publication. But I want to comment two more things on this. There is also another publication very interesting in terms of employment, which is jobs and access. We have studied particularly what is the potential of creating employments working in renewable energy for off-grid applications. And very interesting thing is not only the potential in terms of figures, but also that you can find local people to be trained very easily. So the demand on qualification is not high and can be found locally. And finally, I would like to mention that all this information will be updated and released the 21st of January you can visit our webpage. There is going to be in Abu Dhabi a conference on renewable energy and employment, and we are going to release the latest report on the subject of renewable energy and employment. There is a second question. There is any training institute in the Middle East for PV in the field of solar? I think I will recommend Mr. Hamed El-Devik to visit IRELP webpage. So the main objective of IRELP is to bring accessible the education on offer opportunities. In IRELP, again, you can search by technology. So PV, you can also search by regions in the Middle East, and you will find there all the education offered in the Middle East. There is a third question on IRENA again. Basically, what is IRENA doing to develop programs and curricula in university, on renewable energy university? I didn't went into detail in the presentation, but yes, this is one of the demands that we have from our members. IRENA has at present 120 country members, and we have received several demands to provide support on developing curricula. So basically, we have also contacted other universities that are already doing that. So universities on Canada, on Germany, on Spain, they are already bilaterally supporting other universities in Chile, in Mozambique, or in South Africa. And basically what we are trying to do at present is develop in this second phase of IRELP a module, a forum on developing renewable energy curricula and trying to bring together this the offer and the demand. This university with experience on developing curricula and this other university looking forward to introduce some component of renewable energy. In any case, once again, I think I can advise this person, Mr. Belkacem, to check also in IRENA webpage, because in June 2012 there was also an IRELP site event in the margins of the Whirlwind conference, and the presenter from the University of Oldenburg gave a very interesting insights on how to develop curricula. And in fact, they have developed a shared curricula between the University of Oldenburg in Germany and University of Cape Town in South Africa. And there is this one question on wind, which is basically if there is in Africa the wind resources and if the space, why it's not happening, what has been done to encourage wind energy companies to expand their operations to Africa, where there is growing a group of renewable energy professionals and practitioners. So I don't know very well. Maybe I can mention a couple of activities on IRENA in Africa and give the floor maybe to our wind colleagues, or also maybe to Paolo and Axel if they have how they see Africa and development of wind in Africa. And we do agree with the person that sent us the question. We have a project in IRENA trying to map all the renewable energy resources, and there is an important potential for wind in Africa, and but there is a lack of not only qualified human skills but also infrastructure in terms of evacuation of the energies or the transmission to attract finance for this project. So there is an IRENA at present, a project called the Clean Energy Corridor, trying to bring together the different countries of East Africa to implement these gaps and together try to jointly develop the wind sector in Africa and mainly countries in the northeast supplying electricity to the south, like South Africa, which is a very great consumer of electricity. So maybe I can give the floor to any of the panelists if they want to complement, or how do they should actually, since he would like to comment, Paolo as well. So Paolo, you have the floor, let's say.
Thanks. Yeah. I hope you can hear me. It says I'm muted. No, it should be all right. Yes, no, thank you, Hugo. Yes, I mean, certainly in relation to Africa, I think, as you suggested, wind power is something which is not as looked. I mean, it's not as looked as solar power is. Obviously, Africa is very much known for the sun. I think more than wind. But certainly, wind is also a very important technology. And certainly, what I can suggest our viewer who asked the question is also to have a look at a report that we put together following roundtables we organized around Europe with the United Nations Environment Programme. It's on the European Energy Centre website, euenergycentre.org. And then you'll find some information on possible projects that will be developed and some ideas that can then develop into projects. I mean, the purpose of the roundtables was to put together experts in a renewable energy field in order to develop projects for developing countries especially, and also to finance those projects as well. Obviously there is no project without the financing part of it, so the financing part is very important. So that certainly is also another area that this participant can also look at. I mean, I can also inform you about educational activities that we've been doing here, where I'm based in Edinburgh, in the United Kingdom, where we do a lot of training courses. In the past wind power course that we organized had nearly 40% of participants coming from African countries. That is African participants from Africa that came to the United Kingdom. So it kind of shows that there certainly is a strong feeling towards wind, in fact. Yeah. And obviously nowadays, also through distance learning, that's possible to learn some aspects. Obviously, that is limiting, but still, it's a resource. I guess that people can start in relation to wind power. I think that's all for me. I hope I can give an additional insight. Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paolo. And I see that Axel also would like to comment on the question. Axel, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, just very briefly, what I can say is that there is no real concerted action regarding wind energy in Africa so far. I think it is well known that there are some countries which have been active in this field, which have installed wind parks, like Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa. Morocco and South Africa are quite active from what I see. And there are some Eastern African countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, which are quite active also developing projects. But it is clear that wind energy is a project business with a minimum size of a few $million or euros of project size, and that's not something you just develop overnight. So it needs a lot of preparation, discussion, and so on, and financing obviously is a difficult topic. Solar obviously has developed very quickly because it's a product based. Usually you have solar parks, but you have all this rural electrification business and solar lamps and so on. It's much easier to distribute that in such a continent.
Thank you very much, Axel. Okay, so do our colleagues from the web, you would like to comment, or we go to the next question? Yes.
Well, very briefly, unfortunately, we don't really deal with anything happening outside Europe. We, however, share the offices with the Global Wind Energy Council, GWEC, which is covering any wind-related activities everywhere in the world. So maybe if someone would like to receive further information on wind projects in Africa, it's the right organization to get in touch with.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Then our next question is very straightforward. I don't have an answer, and it is the Galileo Master Certificate relevant for renewable energy professional? Any of you can provide comments. Unfortunately, we are cooperating with Galileo in IRELP, but I don't have all the details and insights about their activities. So I think that Paolo would like to address this or comment this question. So is the Galileo Master Certificate relevant for renewable energy professionals?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Hugo. Yes, the Galileo Master Certificate is, well, it's internationally recognized. It's been awarded for nearly 40 years, in fact, the Galileo Master Certificate. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously, there's an exam, and people who pass the exam would then obtain the Galileo Master Certificate. I believe there are companies from, I can say names as well, but from Mitsubishi to Siemens, the employees of those organizations that have achieved the Galileo Master Certificate. And actually, people who achieve the Galileo Master Certificate, they can also become MEEC. There's more information on the website energycpt.co.uk. But yes, I mean, it's something that is really quite relevant for people who want to upskill and obviously learn the renewable energy, kind of knowledge in renewable energy, and then be able to show that they have learned the knowledge in the renewable energy field to potential employers or potential clients as well, because obviously clients will want to guarantee that a professional has the requirements for and the knowledge to carry out a job before obviously they would employ or they would use a supplier for certain jobs that needs to be done. So yeah, that's the Galileo Master Certificate. Okay, I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, so if from the other panelists there are not comments on this question, I think we have overpassed almost in 20 minutes the time that we have scheduled for this webinar. Even if we have several more questions, I think that most of them could be addressed once the PowerPoint presentations are in IRENA website. So I think that now I would like to close the webinar, to thank a lot to all our 4 panelists from today, to all the people following us through the internet, and of course to my colleagues here helping me in the organization. I wish you a good evening and thank you very much.
Thank you.